Good morning, one and all. On behalf of Faculty of Pharmacy, MS Ramaya University of Applied Sciences, I, Gauri Nair, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmacology, extend a warm welcome to all of you for the webinar session, Basic Understanding of AI and ML in Pharmaceutical Industry and as a Career Path. It's my privilege to introduce to you all our eminent speaker, Mr. Manoj Kulkarni. Mr. Manoj Kulkarni has been associated with formulation, research and development for over 8 years. He completed his B.Pharm in 2009 from MS Ramaya College of Pharmacy, Bangalore. After that, he worked as production chemist in Group Pharmaceutical Limited, Karnataka. Later on, he pursued his M.Pharm with a specialization in pharmaceutics from MS Ramaya College of Pharmacy. From 2013 to 14, he worked as trainee scientist, formulation development for Sanofi Synthilabo Private Limited, Varna, Goa. Thereafter, from 2014 to 15, he worked as executive formulation development for Shilpa Medicare Limited. From 2015 to 18, he served as a research scientist and research assistant in formulation development for Apotex Research Private Limited, Bangalore. Presently, he is working as a senior executive formulation development for Strides Pharma Science Limited, Bangalore. Mr. Manoj Kulkarni has made fundamental contribution towards the development of generic oral solid dosage form such as immediate release and oral disintegrating tablets and hard gelatin capsules for US, Canada, Europe and Australian markets. He also contributed towards the development, scale-up, manufacturing troubleshooting of generic bioequivalent formulations. He also has first-hand experience in designing, formulating and developing process as per quality by design, employing design expert software. He has attended various training programs, workshops, conferences and seminars. He also delivered talk in various institutions and published his research articles in reputed scientific journals. He has received Indian patent in pharmaceutical composition comprising cynarizine and a mucoadhesive polymer. With this introductory note, I would like to welcome you all again to our webinar. Now, I request Mr. Manoj Kulkarni to deliver the talk. Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. Thanks for the warm welcome and the introduction which you are given. I welcome all the budding scientists and the pharmacists to this particular live webinar session, that is basic understanding of AI and ML in pharmaceutical industry and as a career path. First of all, I would like to thank Ramaya University of Applied Sciences for me to giving this a wonderful opportunity to take up this particular webinar. And it's a great privilege to interact with all the young pharmacists and the young scientists to discuss about the newer concept which is there in the industry and as well as in the academia and which is coming into the pharmaceutical field. First of all, I'd like to say it's just a basic understanding of the AI and ML, because AI and ML, it's a kind of an ocean which we can say, and in the pharmaceutical field it is there in the nascent stages when you compare to the other respective fields. So we'll move on to the next slide. First is a disclaimer, as we belong to the industry people, then this is the presentation which is intended for the education purpose only and does not replace independent professional judgment. Okay, just whatever the information which I collected for this presentation, it's available in the public domain or the blogs or the post article which has been collected, and the views and opinions expressed in the following PowerPoint presentation slides are those of the individual presenter which I'm presenting, and it should not be attributed to the organization or department presently where I'm working. Okay, next slide. Okay, when we see this particular word, so artificial intelligence, so it's quite a fancy kind of thing what we say, because everybody says AI in each and every field. artificial means whatever the human beings are inherited from the long time ago, the intelligence has been made into the artificial way. Why the artificial way is required? Because when the human tends to do a repeated jobs, there will be kind of errors which is be happening. So those errors to be minimized to get a better task done in a better way to have the fruitful end result. Looking at the definition of the artificial intelligence, the capacity of a computer to perform tasks commonly associated with the higher intellectual processes characteristic of a humans. See, if you look at this particular definition, say higher intellectual processes, which are performed by the humans only, such as ability to reason, discover meanings, generalize, or learn from the past experience. Here, the past experience word is been used because when the human does a particular work for several years of time, he gains an experience. With the past experience, he learns. Here, with respect to the computers, the past experience means there is no scope for the mistakes from the computer side because they will be designed in such a way that they are made to avoid the mistakes. So the experience is what it gains. So period of time, that experience also counted and it performs the activity in a better way compared to the human beings. That's the reason the word artificial intelligence has come into the picture. The next one. Okay. Machine learning. So these are the two key words which goes into the industry, the AI and ML, AI and ML. Whenever you listen to anybody, they say like AI and ML has been employed anyway. The machine learning, as the word itself says, machine it learns on its own way. How? The definition says machine learning is the study of a computer algorithms. Algorithms nothing but you can say the computer programming in a generalized term that improve automatically through experience and by the use of a data. Whenever we perform any kind of activity or any related activity in the industry or anywhere, you say you'll end up with a particular result. Those results are considered as a data. By use of those data, these computer algorithms, they prepare a set of data that is called as a training data. It is seen as a part of artificial intelligence. This machine learning comes as a part of intelligence only, and this machine learning algorithms build a model-based sample data. As I was explaining, when there is a particular result, you'll be generating a data. For example, if you perform any lab trial activity, at the end you will have some amount of results. Those results are considered as a data. So look, by collecting those kind of sample data, this prepares as a training data for the machine. This training data in order to make a predictions or decisions without being explicitly programmed to do so. This data is required to make some kind of predictions or decisions without the intervention of the human being. So in that way, these machines are made to learn by the utilization of the computer algorithms and the set of data. So that is called as overall as a machine learning, but it's a part of artificial intelligence. Okay. When you look at the artificial intelligence as a whole, so see, this is a tree. This has been depicted to understand how the basic way the artificial intelligence has been done. For any tree, the roots are very much important. Here also the similar way, the artificial intelligence is based on the linguistics, psychology, engineering, philosophy, biology, computer science. In the beginning of the presentation, I said it's an ocean of a subject. Looking at the roots of a tree for of artificial intelligence, you can understand how deep it has been grounded together. Linguistics, psychology, engineering, each and every subject stream is involved to make up the artificial intelligence. And the fruits of it, like if you see the problem solving, machine learning, decision support system, computer vision, natural language processing, image processing, speech recognition, neural computing, robotics, these are the fruits of it. Like, so these fruits or the applications can be implemented into individual fields of the respective task to be performed where and all it is required. For example, if I speak about the speech recognition, in Apple they use the Siri, or in the Hey Google what they use. So these are based on the speech recognition. Based on that, the artificial intelligence are involved with the respective machine learning capacity of the individual algorithms. In that way, these fruits, that is application of the artificial intelligence, will be utilized for the perform the respective task. This is for the basic understanding of the any unknown person about the AI, how it works. The next one, distribution of AI and ML. The distribution of AI and ML, if you look at this particular pictorial representation, the what we are today talking about the AI and ML only. So the AI is on the just on the superficial surface, that's the top surface. When you go inside the machine learning is having a dozens of different ML methods. Machine learning has been divided to learn the machine learning. Again, there is a different sets of methods for the machine, so how it has to learn. To learn this machine learning, then comes the neural networks. Again, that is inside one. The neural networks, when we say the neural networks, directly can correlate to the human brain. How the individual neurons have been integrated to each other. The similar way the neural network has been designed to perform the task. So based on this neural network, like there are different ML methods are involved to perform the neural network kind of structures. To perform this neural network structure, again you have to enter into the deep learning. Deep learning is like to perform the any particular task in a perfect way. There is requirement of the minutest of the minute thing to be considered in a smaller consideration. In that way, this deep learning comes. So deep learning is the part wherein when you go deep inside into perform any particular task, so there the neural networks and the deep learning are internally connected to each other with the set of computer programmings or the algorithm. So then it performs the required kind of machine learning activity and it gives the artificial intelligence output. This is the distribution of AML and this is a pictorial representation of it and how it works. That's a brief explanation about it. Next one. Hold. Types of machine learning. And I said because in the previous slide, if you see, I said about the different ML methods to learn. Sorry. The machine learning are majorly categorized into the three major things. Like why the three broader categories, like how the machines are being learned, like based on the signal or the feedback. When you say the learning, if you take it as a philosophical word as a learning, when you learn or anything or any newer thing part of it, there should be a feedback for that, or there should be a signal or the any teaching should be there. Like this is the way you have to learn this one. The similar way, the machines also have been taught in using the computer algorithm based upon the signal or the feedback. So, next one. These are the three categories: supervised learning, unsupervised learning, reinforcement learning. So that is what the machine learning approaches are traditionally divided into three broad categories, depending on the nature of the signal or feedback available to the learning systems. So these are the traditionally they have been categorized based on this category. The many ML methods have been evolved into the industry. So that is a very big vast of area of study. We'll see the how the individual definitions of the learning systems. The next one. In the first one, supervised learning. Supervised learning, we can say like how the students have been taught by the teachers. This is what the computer algorithms will be taught. Like for example, to say for an algorithm or any development has been done for a particular computer program. To give a basic example, or a algorithm, if you give the image of the apple, image of the banana and image of the orange, we say this, if in this particular kind of shape comes, if it has got this kind of structure, this called to be called as a apple, then banana, orange. So over a period of time, the algorithm are being taught in such a way that with the help of the experts, this if this kind of structure comes, this is the if the input is given to you, then the output should come as the respective structure. That is what the definition says here. The computer is presented with example inputs and their desired outputs given by a teacher. And the goal is to learn a general rule that match inputs to outputs. You give the jumbled way of inputs to the algorithm, and the jumbled way should be segregated to give the output as okay, this is what this is what that this is called as a supervised learning. Means there will be somebody will be there to teach for that algorithm to understand what it is. The next comes the unsupervised learning. Unsupervised learning, it says no labels are given to the learning algorithm, leaving it on its own to find structure in its input. Here what happens, earlier what I has explained, the structure or the shape of the respective image, nothing will be given over here. It has to learn it on its own. How it learns, the still more the whatever the neural networks which I explained in that particular distribution of the AI and ML, those things comes into picture over for this unsupervised learning. As it gains the experiences, this unsupervised learning based upon the past experiences or whatever the inputs are given, and it learns on its own to give the respective outputs. This unsupervised learning can be a goal in itself, discovering hidden patterns in the data. Again, see the data has come into the picture. So whatever the data what we input for this one, it collects all the data, and on its own it discovers. How it discovers? Again, the involvement of the algorithm or a means of a towards an end, feature learning. So by this kind of experiences, it learns on its own to give the exact feature how it has to come out as a required output. The next one, reinforcement learning. So reinforcement learning, some say this as a hypothetical learning, which is still not existing, but some, if you look at the definition, a computer program interacts with the dynamic environment in which it must perform a certain goal, such as driving a vehicle or playing a game against an opponent. As it navigates its problem space, the program is provided feedback that's analogous to rewards, which it tries to maximize. This kind of learning, which is say the unmanned driving cars, all those things, they are being made into the practical. In some companies they are also doing this one. So this is how the machine learning has been traditionally divided. Based on this division, the supervised learning has got a different sets of learning. Again, there are many categories how it has to be learned. Unsupervised learning based upon the requirement where it is to be incorporated, which field they are going to incorporate, how it has to be, the kind of data complexity involved. So based on that, these categories will be taken and they are made into the learning for the machine with the help of the computer algorithms. Next one. Okay. Looking at the previous slides and all, just I was explaining the how the AI and ML basics. They're the very basics, which those things. Here the application of AI and ML in pharmaceutical industry. In the beginning itself, I said in the pharmaceutical industry, the application of AI and ML is in a very nascent stages. As a part of the industry evolution, you have to take into this consideration. And this, if you say, as a cyclic representation which I given over here, that involves research and development, identifying and diagnosing diseases, sales and marketing, smart health record or organization and retrieval, clinical trials. In all these particular fields, AI and ML can be employed based upon the skill sets of the individuals or the way they want to implement it. Based on that, this can be taken into the application part and we can perform the better task. So next one. Hold. Application of AI and ML in R&D. First, I'll start with the R&D because in the pharmaceutical industry, whenever we want to get any drug molecule or drug substance, it starts with an R&D. So when you say the R&D, the work involved and the time involved and the money involved, because these three are the one which runs the business, because ultimately it comes into the health and the business of the people. So when we say the R&D, if you look at the molecules which are coming out of the R&D and the time constraint which is required, there's almost 15 to 20 years takes for the individual molecule to come out in a traditional approach, what is going on in the current industry practice. If you look, if you utilize the AI, how it works. The next one. The pharma companies around the world are leveraging advanced ML algorithms and AI-powered tools to streamline the drug discovery processes. These intelligent tools are designed to identify intricate patterns in large data sets, and hence they can be used to solve challenges associated with the complicated biological networks. Here, the complicated biological network is like the human body is made of full of biological network. because whenever we go for a new molecule or a new drug entity to identify it, we don't know how it behaves, because as we process in a particular line of direction and the response will be in a different way. So hence what happens, the time consumed will be lost in that thing. But if you employ these advanced ML algorithms and AI powered tools with a set of a large data sets, how it has been generated with the previous experience, what has been generated, or looking at the current technology which gives them many stages, like if you employ this particular kind of molecule, this is the outcome which is going to come. Looking at this particular data sets and co- connecting with the biological networks of the human being, we can come out with the better molecules in a faster drug discovery processes. If we have a faster drug discovery processes, means we can get the better medicine in a affordable rates to the patients. The next one. See, if you employ this capability is excellent for studying the patterns of various diseases and recognizing which drug composition would be best suited for treating specific traits of a particular disease. This is what I was trying to explain, because when we start with any new molecule, for which kind of a drug will be interacting with which particular diseases to cure it, will not be aware. If we employ the ANML algorithms for a better study, we will have a quicker solution for the respective diseases. Pharma companies can accordingly invest in the R&D of such drugs that have the highest chance of successfully treating a disease or medical conditions. Ultimately, the solution what we wanted is the R&D to have a better, quicker turnaround time. So if you go for this respective kind of technologies which has been evolving out, and if you come out with the quicker solution, the R&D will have a higher chances of getting the drug into the market and having the better disease treating and better medical condition can be achieved. The next one. First I said about the drug discovery. So drug development. You have to very clearly understand what the drug discovery and the drug development. Drug discovery is just you identified what molecule is going to treat the what kind of disease. That is where it stops there. But ultimately, the drug has to be made into the final formulation and it should be made into the administrable form to the patient. Then only the purpose will be served of the drug discovery. See here, the AI holds the potential to improve the R&D processes from designing and identifying new molecules to target-based drug validation and discoveries. And AI can do it all. How? So you have discovered a particular molecule. Okay, this particular drug is identified to treat the respective medical condition. But ultimately, how the molecule has to be converted into the respective administrable dosage forms. So those things, again, there's the involvement of the AI, because when we say like drug has been discovered, again, all the parameters of the molecule, the physical and chemical stability, all those things to be considered. So when all those parameters are established, because when we prepare a dosage form, it should reach to the patient in a safer manner, and it should reach to the body also in a safe manner, and it should mimic the exact uh, disease prevention activity which was observed in the laboratory in the human body when it comes to the market. So there also this AI holds a potential value, so to treat the medical condition which is required manner. The next one. This is one survey which was conducted by the MIT. Okay. Then we will understand what the drug development process from the discovery to patient reaching dosage form. So it says that 13.8% of the drugs are successfully in passing the clinical trials. Again, it comes like because we have discovered the many molecules. Okay, so that has to pass the clinical trials with the minimum safety, and it should have the toxic level also in the respective manner. To top of this, the companies has to pay the fees, because even the FDA also has to evaluate all whatever the data has been generated by the respective companies. That comes around $2 billion for drug to get through the from clinical trial to the till FDA approval. FDA approval means the final dosage form which is going to get approved and which reaches to the patient hand. These are the two main reasons why pharma companies are increasingly adopting AI to improve the success rates of the new drugs, create more affordable drugs, add therapies, and most importantly, reduce operational costs. See, again, the ultimate goal of the any pharma companies or anybody is that to have the affordable drugs with the better medical cure. So looking at all this kind of passing ratio and the cost incurred and the time, the AI will improve those part of it. Like, so if you incorporate a respective AI tool which has got the respective task to be performed in a required manner, it will reduce the operation cost and it will have a beneficial to the patient as well as to the organization which is being made the drug. Next one. Application of AI and ML in diagnosis part. We saw that the drug discovery and drug development, even the diagnosis also plays a very major role, because as we are saying, like there are many different new diseases have been evolving. The doctors also getting confused, like to take a decision at particular stage. This is particular because of this disease only it has been happened like this, and with the required treatment. Here what the ML does is doctors can use advanced ML system to collect, process and analyze vast volumes of patients' healthcare data. Healthcare providers around the world are using ML technology to store sensitive patient data securely in the cloud or centralized storage system. So this is known as a EMRs. This has been employed in all the developed countries and slowly it is being employed into the developing countries also. Here what happens, when we have the cloud storage of data with the help of the ML technology, for example, to say the pulmonary constriction which happens, that can be confused with the COPD also, with the congestive obstructive pulmonary diseases. The treatment for both are different. Like if it has been identified in the initial stages, and if they have the previous data which has been recorded with other patients, or the ML can identify this has been observed, this kind of a respective data with looking at the particular imaging study. So hence this can be taken into the consideration of the respective disease only. So there what happened, we got an exact conclusion which is the disease has been the infected the patient. So there won't be any ambiguity, or like it's not like okay, this particular thing has been observed, we'll give this treatment, then we'll see. And after sometimes what happens, it will not get cured. So those things kind of confusions can be avoided with the utilization of the respective ML system. Since ML technologies possess the ability to process and analyze massive amount of data quickly, they can help quicken the diagnosis process, thereby help save millions of lives. Ultimate goal is that like to save the life of any patient. To save that, this ML use in a tremendous information wherein we can arrive at the respective concrete conclusion. Yeah, this has been happened because of this only. Okay, the next one. Disease prevention. We saw the which disease to conclude, and this is disease prevention. It's not like if you use the ML, the disease can be prevented. It's not that way. So what the ML want to convey here, AI and ML want to convey here is the pharma companies can use the AI to develop cures for both known diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease and rare diseases. Generally, pharmaceutical companies do not spend their time and resource on finding treatments for the rare disease, since the return on investment is very low compared to the time and cost it takes to develop drugs for treating rare disease. Rare diseases are very these diseases to identify are also very difficult. And after that, after identification, if you take come out with any molecule that goes into the, for example, in the US market, it's a risk evaluation mitigation system. It goes again. There is a different costing systems are involved. That is the reason they say return on investment is very less for the rare diseases. But if you implement this AI tools for the rare disease, we can come out with the flying colors, like wherein the cost incurred also can be reduced. And disease prevention, which is mentioned here, for example, if you take the Parkinson's, it goes in a stage by stage 1, 2, 3 in that way. So there is a company which has been established an application between the doctor and the patient. This can be operated remotely. it is there in the developed countries, wherein in case of Parkinson's, the coordination between the hands and those shaking kind of environment which is there in the patient, that can be monitored remotely by the doctor in the stage 1 and 2. So if the coordination is happening between the patients and the doctor, it can be easily seen that. And if there is any disturbances which has been happening from the stage 1 to 2, so there itself they can prevent that particular disease by switching over the medicines, or if there is any emergency help is required for the respective patient, so that can be given on the online way, that is virtual way. So that is how the AI and ML tools have been developed, and this is being treated the diseases. The next one. See, there is a global genes reported that nearly 95% of rare diseases don't have the FDA approved treatments or cures. However, thanks to AI and ML innovabilities, the scenario is rapidly changing for the better way. So that's how I explained for the Parkinson's. The similar things are being incorporated for the other rare diseases also. In the coming future, we can expect the better solution for those rare diseases also. The next one. Okay, manufacturing. Even AI and ML is being utilized in manufacturing of the pharmaceutical dosage forms. Here what happens, there's something called as a smart manufacturing, that is also terminology is coming up. Here the pharma companies can implement AI in the manufacturing process for higher productivity, improved efficiency, and faster production of life-saving drugs. AI can be used to manage and improve all aspects of manufacturing processes. How it can be improved by the manufacturing process? If you look at the human intervention in the manufacturing is lot currently in the Indian industries. In other respective country industries, they have been implementing these AI and ML concept. For example, the CNC machine, wherein it requires the human intervention to input the particular respective data. So, for example, if you say like when we do the any dosage forms or manufacturing time and all, for example, if you say the data to be given as 0.01 for any particular activity, instead of giving that 0.01, the by mistake of the human error it gives 0.1 or 0.001. I agree that all the utmost care will be taken, but sometimes these kind of a smallest of the smallest error, what happens, it keeps on prolonging the manufacturing activity. So thereby what happens, this efficiency will be reduced. So these kind of the smallest activity can also be taken care by the AI and ML. So that concept is called a Pharma 4.0. That is again a different kind of aspect which is being run in the manufacturing facilities. So in that particular aspects also, this AI and ML can be utilized for the better improvement of the manufacturing facility to get the life-saving drugs in a faster manner to the market. And AI can replace the time-consuming conventional manufacturing techniques, thereby helping pharma companies to launch drugs in the market much faster and at cheaper rates as well. Apart from increasing their return on investment substantially by limiting the human intervention, which I explained, this human intervention can be minimized to the minimum. And manufacturing processes, AI would also eliminate any scope for the human error. That time we will not have any human errors, so that we'll have a smoother production activity and we can have the better medicines to the patients. The next one. Ultimate goal of the any pharmaceutical industry, that is marketing. So this is what like a marketing which runs the any of the organization or any of the industries. The similar way in the pharmaceutical industry also. Here how the AI can help to improve the marketing, like marketing not only with respect to the patients, even in between the industries, like how they want to market their individual API or the raw material which is the industry has to procure. So that also can be implemented in the AI and ML technology. Here see, AI can help map the customer journey. Means, for example, if you have any particular website, with that it has been explained over here, and any customer visits the website and how that particular customer visit has been converted into the purchasing of the respective material. AI can help to map the customer journey, thereby allowing companies to see which marketing technique led visitors to their site, lead conversion, and ultimately push the converted visitor to purchase from them. In this way, pharma companies can focus more on those marketing strategies that lead to the most conversions and increasing the revenues. ultimately the revenue has to be increased. So to increase that revenue by following all the traditional methods, if you implement this AI and ML tools which is there in the respective marketing field, you can have the better understanding for the customer mindset. And another part is like when it patient concentrate, like AI tools can analyze the past marketing campaigns, because any new molecule or any new branding has to happen. The pharma company, they go for a campaigning of the molecule, campaigning of the respective brands. So how that campaigning it was worked in the previously past marketing evaluation will be done and compare the results to identify which campaigns remain the most profitable. So all this can be done by the humans. If you give the same thing to the AI and ML, it gives in a better way and in a proper concrete conclusions can be understood with this. This what happens allows the companies to design the present marketing campaigns accordingly, while also reducing the time and saving the money. Furthermore, AI system can even accurately predict the success or failure rate of a marketing campaigns. Here, I would like to focus on this particular thing, because even though we have the better molecule and the better disease preventing medicines with us, if we are not able to give it to the market in a better way, again it's like all the failure phase. So here the AI and ML tools, what it does is like it exactly predicts like how you can go for the market with respect to campaign or not, like in what better it can be done, how the route has to be chosen to reach the individual person better, making their life the better and gaining the revenues to the organization also. So with this AI ML tools also we can have the success rate for the marketing campaigns also. These applications are closed for this pharmaceutical industry, which are there in a very briefer way. When we say any newer thing, like it's also a new thing into the pharmaceutical industry, so what are the limitations in the applications of AI and ML in the pharmaceutical industry or in the any field of the related to the pharmaceuticals? Next one. Look at this first point. The current IT infrastructure of the most pharma companies is based on legacy systems that are optimized for AI. I don't mean like you need a supercomputer for these things, but what happens when it comes to the IT infrastructure, each and every pharma company, they have their intellectual property. Whatever it happens, it has to retain there only. Again comes to the security, all this, the hacking problem which is to happen in the pharmaceutical industry. So looking at those IT infrastructure, because when we say AI and ML, it is all involved with the computer systems and the computer programming. So to have that respect to that level of understanding of the AI and ML, the computer system of the respective organization to be increased. That is, IT infrastructure has to be improvised for the that level. That is one point. And the next one is integration and adoption of AI demand industry expertise and skills, something that is still not ready available. So as I said, it's a very nascent stage of the pharmaceutical industry, AI and ML. If you look at all the applications in each and every aspect, drug discovery, drug development, pharmaceutical manufacturing, marketing, all this implementations are very good result yielding activities. But to yield those good results, we need to have the better skill sets and expertise in that respective field, because many computer engineers we can get, but the computer engineer with the respective pharmaceutical knowledge, if we have, then we can run the AI and ML in the pharmaceutical industry in a better way. That integration adoption has to happen, and that is still it is a time consuming phase which has been happening on a daily basis, and still it is not readily available. So these are the two main limitations which has been reported in the literature, which we say as to adopt those things into the our pharmaceutical industry. There are the limitations, but for every limitation there will be solutions, like how to overcome those limitations. Partnering and collaborating with academic institutions that specialize in AI R&D to guide pharma companies with the AI adoptions. Here what happens, the individual pharmaceutical company cannot go and do all this AI activity, because it is involved with the computers engineering, algorithms, different kind of data is involved, data science is involved. So then it has to collaborate, and partnering should be done with the respective industry where they are doing this kind of activity, and we can have the same adoption in our industries to have the respective results which we needed in our pharmaceutical industry, and collaborate with companies that specialize in the AI-driven medicine discovery to reap the benefits of expert assistance, advanced tools, and industry experiences. So this can also be adopted in the beginning of the medicine discovery. And the main thing is like training of the R&D or the manufacturing teams to implement the AI tools by understanding their importance in the day-to-day activity, how it can be improve the life of their individuals in the day-to-day activity. It does not mean that like it replaces the job of the individual. That is the main concept when I interacted with any other people. Like if AIML comes, then we'll lose our jobs. No, that is the reason they say like train R&D and manufacturing teams, because the pharmaceutical industry is in such a way that it requires a lot of technical experience in the core area. With that core area, if we have this AI tool knowledge, we can still have the better productivity for the organization. This is all the limitations and the how to overcome those limitations. That is what it is. And the next is AI and ML as a career path. This is a question when I interact with the many students or any of my colleagues or any of this. When I started with AI and ML, how it would be there as a career path. It's a very good career path, but it's integration of the different sciences. The main thing is pharmaceutical science, which is required. The career path in AI and ML has a very large area of opportunities, but it is in nascent stages in the current day. For a candidate with a challenging mindset and who has got a better skill sets, as I was explained in previous slides also about the skills which is required to adopt these things in the pharmaceutical industry. First and foremost thing, we need to have the better grip in our pharmaceutical core industry, what we are doing, like each and every subject, what we'll learn. So those we need to have the better understanding. With that better understanding, how to implement with using the AI and ML. That is the main thing. That is the reason it is said as a who has got a better skill set. And the next one, what are the skills are required? So these are the basic, and the basic skill set are required, or the interest of an individual. Mathematics, statistics, MS Excel, computer softwares or programming. These are the skills which are required additional to our pharmaceutical knowledge what we have in the respective area, like somebody is the pharmaceutical chemistry, pharmacology, or any specialization, or with those specialization you need to have this particular thing. Mathematics and statistics. Here what happens when we say this mathematics or statistics, even to the all the pharmacy guys, those who enter into mathematics, this particular respective field, because we don't have the mathematics in pharmaceutical area. But that was the misconception. But when we see the basic mathematics is must and at most it is required only, because when we go from the B Pharm to M Pharm, or when you enter into the industry, there you will face like, oh, this if you would have studied in our B Pharm or M Pharm time, we could have solved this particular thing in a very easy way. So now what's happening? The people those who are there and got some interest towards the mathematical statistics, they are excelling the respective field. Okay, so here when I looked into the syllabus of the or university or other universities, they are having the mathematics as a college exam or as the university exam. What is my request to all the students who are attending, or please focus on this particular mathematics and the statistical skills. You may think like in the current what I'm doing, why it is required mathematics or statistics. If you look at the current thing, nothing will be there. But if you see the implication, see this AI and ML, which nobody thought in the pharmaceutical industry it will come, but now it is slowly it is emerging into the field as a bigger field. It will be there in the coming future. Everybody is investing a lot into it because the reaping fruits of the AI and ML are very good. So to stand with the respective kind of environment, you need to have this stronger mathematics basics and stronger statistics. And the current generation, they are very much good into all the technology which is being used, because I done my B Pharm 10 years back. If you look at the current B Pharm batches is coming out, they are very good in technologies. As previously I was discussing with the coordinator, Mr. Damodar, he was saying like many students have been acting as the troubleshooter for all this technology platforms. So what my request to the current generation which is coming out, these MS Excel or the computer softwares or any technology what you're using, be thorough in that thing along with the basics of the mathematics and statistics. So why I'm much more stressing on this particular basics, because when you do all this machine learning programming, that is the supervised learning, what I said, the input or the output, how it comes. So there, what happens? These are the things which comes like mathematics. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. This is the basic way how it has been taught to the algorithm also. The similar with the statistics, mean, median, average, multivariation analysis, regression. Those things comes into the picture. Based on these factors only, the many big buildings like of the ML algorithms are being built. So those are the ones which gives you the exact answer. If you are very good in this mathematics, statistics, basics, so that can build a very bigger things and have the very good reaping fruits. And the MS Excel. Why the MS Excel particularly? Because if you look into the many programming softwares are there in the market, like for example R, Python, Tableau, all these things are based on MS Excel only. So in the beginning of your BPharm or in the MPharm, when you see like MS Office tools usually, MS Office tools, in that MS Excel is the one which deals with all that kinds of data which you're going to do. So if you have a thorough understanding of the MS Excel, like it has got a many courses, basic Excel and advanced Excel. All these courses are freely available in the Coursera or Udemy, anything. If you see the many advertisements are going on in the online platform. So if you have the better understanding of this MS Excel, so that will also have the better future. And computer softwares or the programming. Computer softwares or programming, as a pharmaceutical person, if you have the very good interest towards that one, you can learn it on, or you can have the collaboration with the persons who are interested in that thing, and with those collaboration you can learn those things and have the connection to your pharmaceutical industry, and where the work what you're doing, like any kind of any interest area, it may be there for you, like as an individual, chemistry, ecology, pharmaceutics, or any of this thing, synthetic chemistry or semi-synthetic chemistry. Ultimately the goal is to have the better medicines to the patients. So to understand that particular point of view, this basic requires skill set slide I had mentioned, and I sincere request to individual students, those who are attending this one, please focus on this particular basic mathematics and statistics or the MS Excel part of it, because what happens as you enter into the industry, these things are tend to forget or those things. So at that point of time, you feel like it is a difficult to learn or just leave it aside. But as in the student career itself, if you focus on this part and if you come with the better solutions and you have a better grip on this particular thing, you can have the better future in the AI and ML if you are chosen as a career path. The next one, as a career path. So these are the list which you made it. Like I'm not here to say like if you do this particular course you will get this one. As a drug discovery and development, as I explained in the previous application part of it, the same will be extrapolated over here. So as a drug discovery, to understand the how the drug is being made, and talking studies, what we say, CAD is being there. So with those, there are also kind of artificial intelligence. But now if you look into the industry point of view, there is an improved version of it, each and every tools which is being used to develop the drug discovery and the development. Drug designing, here again the drug designing, when it comes to the R&D area, the design of the drug has to be made in a very faster way, because sometimes the disease will be prevailing in a very vast way. We want the better solution for them. So in that way, how to do, we cannot go with all our traditional things, because that requires a huge amount of time. As a to choose a career in this particular drug designing, you need to have the better understanding of the AI and ML and the own core area, and identification of molecules at a preclinical trials. So this is one of the biggest tasks each and every organization who are there in the clinical trials, they can understand this one. Because what happens, which molecule has to go, like there are plenty of molecules will be available, which one to be taken into the preclinical trials. We are not sure, like if you take this particular thing preclinical, whether it passes or fails. So again, to have the career in this particular, we need to have the basic understanding of the, which molecule, if you choose, which will go into the clinical trial, have the success rate is the utmost thing, because we cannot keep on trying each and every day, like if you take this one, this will go. So it is not the way how it works in the preclinical area. Selection of candidates for a clinical study. See, here the molecule selection itself is a one kind of task in identification of molecules at a preclinical trials area, and selection of candidates for the clinical study. Clinical study, what happens, like it is choosing of the respective subjects. for the respective diseases or the healthy volunteers, what we say. Here what happens, you have to see the, we don't know how that particular molecule will behave in the human beings. To understand that one, at the genetic level, the study has to be done. Now, the clinical trial organization or the clinical research organization, they are also coming up with many AI and ML tools to understand the huge amount of the data of the patient which are going to enroll into the study. The first of all, the enrollment itself is a very difficult task for them. That time itself, if you have a proper screening of the candidates, and to understand that screening, what is required, the expertise required, expertise who has knowledge of the which kind of a genetic system to be chosen, why that genetic system is required, why that particular physical condition is required. To understand why those kind of requirement, if you have the better understanding of the molecule and what the tool which you're going, which is acting as an intermediate between the selection of the candidate and the molecule, if you have the thorough knowledge about this AI and ML tool, then you can have the selection of the candidate is made easy and you'll have a fruitful result in the clinical study. That is one thing. And smart factory setup. To focus on the smart factor setup, I can quote you the example of the simple tablet dosage form. In the tablet dosage form, what happens, if you see in your laboratory on the college level, so you'll have a single punch which will be rotating and it gives you the one tablet. So that is not the way it has been run in the industry. Here you will have a huge amount to be supplied to the market. Here what happens, like a 15 lakh, 20 lakh tablet batches to be run, and there will be a monthly target which has to reach to the market. Okay, so here what, in this case, if the compression machine which is be running continuously 24/7 in all the machine, in all the shifts, so it requires a continuous support. If there is any breakdown because of the slightest machine, because all the machines nowadays they are run with the sensors, which you can say. So here, if there is one sensor is not working, then machine will halt down. To rectify that machine sensor, you need to have the inventory in the store. So that inventory should be available at a proper time when there is the breakdown happens. So here the setup has been come into the picture. There is something called as a Pharma 4.0, wherein it requires a set of 12 to 13 people who are expert in that area, like a mechanical engineer, software engineer, above all, the one who knows about the product, pharmaceutical product and the pharmaceutical machines. So here the Pharma 4.0, what it says is that, by giving the example of the tablet compression machine, it generates a huge amount of data that is almost 24 terabyte. So this is what the literature reported, 24 terabyte. Look at the huge amount of data which has been generated. What we can do with this terabyte, this much amount of data? What, when we run a machine continuously for requirement of delivery of dosages, it will also have a wear and tear. So for example, any sensor which has been lacking and a huge amount of data will be continuously generated and is represented as a graphical representation, for the experts will be evaluating that particular graphical representation. If there is any change in the graphical representation, then they can easily correlate back to the respective sensor, and that gives an indication to the inventory department. This particular sensor is life has been getting reduced. Please order the respective sensor. By the time it reaches to 50% of its life, the order will be placed and it will have in the area of the organization. When it reaches to the 10%, so engineering or the maintenance team, that will come, they'll get the notification that, okay, this particular sensor has to be replaced to have the machine in a smoother manner. Okay, so they'll take it when 10% life is there, that time itself they call for the maintenance activity of that machine and they'll replace the sensor which is available in the inventory store. Look at the planning, how it has been done because of the data which is available, and with the half day of time the sensor is replaced and the machine is ready for the production activity. Think a scenario wherein you don't know which sensor has been default and which has been caused the problem. To identify that itself take a half a day. After identifying that half day, you replace the order. Think of the time which has been consumed. So looking at all this time which has been consumed, if the smart factory setup comes, how much amount of time it is going to save for the industry, and ultimately the life-saving drugs which will not have the shortage in the market. So currently you can see the many drugs have been shortage they say. So if we adopt this kind of environment in the factories, we'll have a better life-saving drugs in the on the right time to the patients. That is what the smart factory setup. Here it requires the skilled people. Again, I'm stressing on the point that is the skilled people. The many pharmaceutical people will be there, but looking the problem in this respective area to have the better solution, that is what the industry is requiring. And the market evaluation and branding. Again, the brand managers comes, product managers comes in this respective area. Brand managers, product managers with their previous experiences, whatever they learned, on that basis they design the evaluation pattern and they do the branding of the respective molecules. But if you have the respective AI and ML tool, you can what I explained in the application part of the marketing, you can generate such a nice design wherein you can say if you approach this particular design and you can have respective concrete conclusion, and this is a result yielding activity, you can say. So with this we can have the better branding of the molecule and the product, and you can reach to the respective people. These are the few examples of the career path which I explained here as AI and ML. If you adopt this thing, to adopt all these things, you need to have the required skill sets and the better understanding of the pharmaceutical area and the basics understanding of the mathematics and the statistics. And the next. With this adopted companies, we'll be concluding all the presentations. Okay, there are few companies which I have listed over here. They use the AI and ML as a tool. For example, the Novartis. Here what happens in Novartis, what the literature reported in their white paper of the Novartis website, they uses the AI to predict untested components researchers should explore to find a new cures. Here what happens, each and every molecule which has been untested, like when it's supposed to enter into the preclinical trials with their previous experience, they say it is not going to cure anything. But they are designed the AI tool in such a way that to find out for any new cures, like using the biological components of the human body, how it has been correlated with the respective available molecule what they identify. With this correlation, they are able to identify the new cures. So this is being employed in the Novartis. Work Genomics, that is, it uses the AI to predict the effect of new treatment for patients suffering from the Alzheimer's, because Alzheimer's don't know like how it behaves. Like even though we have this sufficient amount of medicines which is available, that's based on the previous experience what the doctors are prescribing. Here the AI is being used to predict the effective way how the new medicines can be delivered to the Alzheimer's. If you look at the Bayer and Merck, see, they both are collaborated. What I was telling about the overcoming of the AI application, the collaboration is the main thing. Here they do the algorithms used to identify pulmonary hypertension, which I explained. Like, and this particular device has got a breakthrough device designation from the FDA for AI software. So this kind of activity, if they do it in a collaboration way, think at the patient benefiting, the population of the patients, how they'll be benefited, because the pulmonary hypertension, if it happens like there is sudden next to the coma and a death which is going to happen if you look at the disease progression of this particular disease, pulmonary hypertension. So in that case, they got a particular algorithm, the whatever the images or the diagnosis which has been generated, if they give it to this particular algorithm, it says which kind of hypertension, which stage it is there. So and accordingly the conclusion can be made from the diagnosing doctor and the treatment can be initiated on the immediate basis. And again the cyclic and they collaborated together used to determine the polypharmacological profile faster and develop a more affordable drugs. Here their concept is different compared to the Novartis, what they're doing. Here the pharmacological profile which is there already, and to identify them in a faster way to give the affordable drugs. Their target is something different, to have the affordable medicines to the patients in a better way. So in that way they have designed the AI. All this, whatever the companies, what they designed the AI tools, it is a very big vast study they have done. It is available there in their respective websites or in the available literature for the better understanding. I had given the in a very gist way to understand how the AI and ML can be understood for the better understanding of the drug for the patient population. And this is a Tencent Holdings. It leverages the AI to remotely monitor the patients with the Parkinson's. That's what I was explained earlier also. Monitoring of the patients in now what is happening, the patient and the doctor ratio. If you look at it, there is a scarcity in that thing. monitor this kind of patient, like Parkinson patient, like or as the stage of 1, 2, 3, it will be progressing. To understand that progressing of this diseases, this Tencent Holdings, they have developed an application, mobile application it is, wherein video call will be done to the doctor by the patient. They will understand how the disease has been progressed, whether the same medicine to be continued or the medicine tweaking is required. Based upon the tweaking, whether is there any adverse effect to the patient. Based on that, they'll take it for the next stage, whether the admission of the patient is required to the hospital. So these kind of technologies has been evolving. So these are the few examples which I mentioned over here. The AI and ML adopted by the different companies for the ease of the patient care. So with this, I'll be concluding the presentation, and these are the references or the further readings which you can take it up. And if you have any questions or anything, you can post it in the chat box. I'll try to clarify them. Damodar, do we have any questions?
Yes, sir. Request participants to post their questions in the through mail.
Okay, sir.
So now, hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, it is audible.
So I will request Mr. Damodar to circulate your mail ID so that participants can send their questions to your mail. So please try to address their questions, sir.
Yeah, that will be better, sir.
Okay, so distinguished invitees, colleagues, and my dear students, now we are marching towards the end of today's webinar, and it's my honor and privilege to conclude this session by extending a vote of thanks. And it's my honor, that's a privilege to extend this. And first of all, we are very much thankful to the management and inspirational source of this university, our Honorable Vice Chancellor and Pro Vice Chancellors, for their continuous encouragement and support in conducting this kind of webinars. And on behalf of all the faculty members and students, I thank our Dean Dr. S. Bharat for his all-round contribution to the Faculty of Pharmacy with his proactiveness, and Dr. V. Madhavan, Professor Research, for his valuable guidance. And we are really fortunate to have an eminent speaker and alumni of Ramaya. Today's talk, Mr. Manoj Kulkarni, on the basic understandings of AI and ML in pharmaceutical industry and as a career path. From your valuable discussion, sir, I was able to capture some points. I think you have started with pictorial representation. So by mentioning the root and fruits. So in the root, you have pointed out linguistics, psychology, engineering, philosophy, biology, and computer science. And from that root, the fruits you pointed out like problem solving, machine learning, and robotics, neural computing, and speech recognition, image processing, and computer vision, etc. And when you are explaining the different types of machine learning, you mentioned about what is it? Supervised and unsupervised, and also reinforcement learning. So it was an excellent explanation, sir. And similarly, when the applications related, you pointed out the clinical trial, research and development, the diagnosis, sales and marketing, a smart health record, etc. And you mentioned about the why companies are adopting artificial intelligence to improve success rate and reduce cost, and also to use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in storing patient sensitive data to enable accurate and quick diagnosis, and to improve the return of investment of companies, and also how this AI and ML is useful in higher productivity and faster production of life-saving drugs in manufacturing department. And also you mentioned about the limitations of AI and machine learning, and you have concluded with AI and machine learning as a very large area of opportunity. So on behalf of our Department of Pharmacology, Faculty of Pharmacy, and all the participants. I profusely thank you, Mr. Manoj Kulkarni sir, for your thought-provoking speech, and I wish to express my heartfelt thanks and gratitude to Mrs. Gauri Nair, Assistant Professor of our department, on behalf of all the participants for delivering these welcome remarks to this auspicious occasion. And also I would like to thank and convey my sincere appreciation to Mr. Damodar Nayak and our department faculty members for their support and closer cooperation throughout the process and the arrangement of this webinar. And on my personal behalf and on behalf of Faculty of Pharmacy, I profusely thank all the participants for their active participation and support and presence in making this program a noteworthy success. Thank you one and all. So you please post your questions to the circulated mail to Mr. Manoj sir. So immediately he will address your doubts. Thank you one and all for your patient listening and your sincere attendance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the opportunity given to me to speak in this particular webinar. It was a great pleasure for me to be here and enlightening the student, and I'll be happy to answer if any questions comes out. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you all. Damodar sir.